Joe Frenier had always been an active, healthy man.
I was always so healthy. Anytime I had anything physically wrong with me, I pretty much ignored it because I thought, you know, I'm going to just tough it through this.
In 2002, while vacationing with his wife, Terry, Joe noticed a lump under his arm.
I thought, well, you know, I've had other lumps, little cysts on my body, and it's probably nothing. And I thought, well, just ignore it at first and see what happens.
He was really tired, and he told me about this, but I just thought, okay, you just need to go to the doctor.
By the time they came home, the lump had grown. Joe visited their family doctor.
He said, whatever it is, it's not cancer. And he said that at 2 different appointments. And so that kind of really put me at ease. He thought it was a cyst, and he thought maybe it was an infection or something, so he gave me antibiotics and tried different things to try to calm it down or make it go away.
The lump kept growing, and his doctor finally sent Joe for a sonogram.
The tech said, this is not a cyst, these are lymph nodes. At that time, it was probably getting close to golf ball size. Eventually, I went in to get the biopsy, and the surgeon said that the cancer was 2 baseball sizes by the time he took one of them away for the biopsy.
Joe had stage 4 metastatic melanoma. The aggressive cancer was spreading throughout his body.
Once they took everything out from underneath my arm, it spread to my stomach. And so they had to take 1/3 of my stomach out, and they took some lymph nodes out and part of my omentum.
Doctors sent Joe to Pittsburgh, where he received high doses of interleukin-2, a very potent form of chemotherapy.
It is an immune system booster, and it was like brutal. It turned out that didn't work, and it only grew even more.
Eventually, the cancer invaded his kidneys, lungs, and pancreas. The doctor told Joe it was only a matter of time before he would lose his battle.
He said to me, Mr. Fournier, I don't know if you know, but you have days to live. There was times when, like kind of late at night, I'd be laying in the hospital, and I'd be thinking, you know, in the dark, and kind of a dark night of the soul, you know, what's this going to be like? Because I realized I was dying.
But Terry believed that God would heal Joe.
I was really fearful, and that is when I feel like the Lord gave me a promise. Abide in me, and if I abide in you, ask whatever you wish and you will get it. And that is when I felt the Lord was telling me that he was going to be okay.
They met oncologist Dr. Barry Levinson. He told them about an experimental treatment that combined chemo with immunotherapy. It was a long shot at best, but they were out of options.
It was a highly toxic regimen, and again, I was concerned about his ability to tolerate it. He was quite ill at the time, very weak, had lost a lot of weight. I certainly was anxious to get him started on therapy, but also faced it with some trepidation because treatments are very, very difficult to tolerate.
Despite the dangers, Joe agreed to the treatments. Meanwhile, their church prayed, believing that God would have the final word.
Why does everyone say thy will be done and not the rest of that verse, you know, which is in heaven? So I've started thinking, what's in heaven? Is melanoma in heaven? Is sickness in heaven? There's all good things in heaven. So I started just asking for heaven to come to earth. And I think that we started getting bolder.
After the first round, I could feel, I had 2 masses, one above and one below my collarbone. I could feel those shrink and go away. And after the second round, I had some internal shrinkage from a scan I had. They said, you've had significant shrinkage on the inside. And then after the 3rd round of the chemo, it was totally gone. I had a PET scan and they said, there's no cancer. You are cancer-free. He told me that what happened to me doesn't happen. He's never seen it happen.
That's the moment I knew. In the moment I wanted the nurses and the doctors to say, this is a miracle and that this has not happened before.
I've found that patients who have great faith tend to do better than predicted. We can't always predetermine who will respond well and who won't. So that's something beyond our control. And then ultimately, you know, God is the ultimate healer, and we put our trust in his hands.
For 8 years, Joe has been cancer-free. He is back to enjoying life, knowing that each day is a gift from God.
This cancer was way bigger than me, but I found that with God on my side, that changes everything. It's a game changer, having him. And he just showed me how weak I was apart from him, but how strong I can be in him.
For me, I think cancer was one of those calls on our marriage that I took all expectation off of Joe and put all my expectation on God. And I feel like the love of Christ came out of me.
There is indeed nothing impossible with God. If he chooses to heal, he can do it in a flash. And I think that has helped me just to trust him, trust his goodness, trust his power and his ability.